Good morning, seniors. Hope you guys are having a good week. Just posted another assignment for you guys to do. This time, this is going to be a major grade. It's not due today, don't worry. But we're introing it today and we're working on it the first couple days of next week. It's the Columbo tactic paper. Now I'm going to explain what that is because it's got a unique name to it. But again, just want to show you guys where it is. Go to your assignments, go to major. Also, if you're coming in and you realize some stuff in the grade book isn't there, you can always go over here to the right and click on previous assignments. And obviously, everything that we've done is in here. And so let's see, some of you, like these, what are the odds statistically? That was yesterday. And then the Lord Liar Lunatic Reflection, that was 2 days ago. So just make sure that you're going back and hitting previous if you think you missed something or there's something in the grade book that you're not liking. That's a great place to start. So for the Columbo tactic paper, Columbo tactic is based off an old detective show that the guy was kind of an idiot, didn't really know what was going on throughout the show, but then he started asking questions and everything kind of fell into place. And it's a very old show. I think I actually saw it on Netflix or Prime or something the other day that you can go back and watch an episode. But the whole premise is that you would diffuse arguments and diffuse tension and diffuse hostility and ultimately uncover the truth simply by asking questions, not by turning around to someone and saying, hey, you're wrong, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. All that does is put up defenses and it causes people to just not want to engage in the conversation. So to be honest, the goal here is to train ourselves in the ability to, in the art of asking questions to uncover and get to truth. And we've already done it with a little bit with self-defeating statements. We've already done it a little bit with the way that we communicate, like, hey, where's the evidence for that? Or what drew you to that conclusion? So I want to show you guys an example paper that I actually wrote for one of my philosophy classes. That actually, during my master's class, is an apologetics class, and I stole it and I kept it, and I shortened it for you guys. So here's the example. So you're all going to start from this stance of whoever. Now the student here is, you can give them a name. I just put one of my peers. Not anybody in particular, but just you can give them a name if you want to. They're going to have a claim that starts this conversation. That's what this conversation gets going off of. It's obviously a claim I don't agree with or believe in, or it's a claim that I just never heard before and I want to know more information. So the goal is to uncover truth, okay? But instead of taking the avenue of, I don't like that, I don't agree with it, you're wrong, where defenses go up, we're going to take the approach of asking questions and understanding how we can ask questions and effective questions to navigate the conversation where we want it to go. So if the claim is, I cannot stand it when Christians assume that morals are from God, morals are relative, everyone knows that. They've evolved over time and continually getting better, and Christians are always pushing their morals on me. Now, that claim is a little bit wordy, but the ultimate claim is that right here, morals are relative. This right here is the central claim of that. And that is going to be what I'm asking questions about. Undercover truth is like, okay, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by relative? What do you mean by morals? What do you mean by, is it ethics? Is it morals? Is it just opinion? Is it truth for everyone? Is it extension off of the truth conversation, but it's the same self-defeating claim? So you can use a self-defeating claim in your prompt and somewhat what someone's doing and uncover it that way. Different options that I've read over the years is, more in particular what we're talking about this week is, oh, well, I think that Jesus was just a liar and I think he made it up, or I think Jesus is legend and he didn't actually live in that time period. Or there's lots of claims, and I've had some people argue that Jesus never existed and the whole thing was fabricated. And so it's very, very important to be able to ask questions to disarm hostility and lower defenses so that you can help them understand and help them see either the error of their logic, or you can help them understand that the position they might have is not founded on a whole lot of evidence. There might be some evidence, but the claim they're making is more or less going against the overwhelming evidence that we're learning in this class, or that goes against logic of what we've talked about. It's about self-defeating statements. And so as you can see, the way I've constructed this is just back and forth. But every time I speak, I ask a question. Now, this is going to take some time to get used to, and that's why we're doing this and training in this way. And if you guys want to jump on and ask me questions for the tutorials in the morning or in the afternoon, please do that, and we can kind of talk through it. This is going to be a lot easier to understand if you don't email me about it, but you jump on one of those. Obviously, it's a quick question, then go ahead and email me. But to talk this out is important, because that's what it is. It's a conversation. So every single time I speak, I'm asking a question somewhere, okay? For this paper, I want you to get away from just getting in the habit of telling them that they're wrong or telling them the information you want them to know. In this claim, I have a lot of information that I want them to know that, by the way, morals are not relative, and that claim is self-defeating. But I can't just come out and say that off the bat. I need to get to a place where he or she understands that the quest is for truth and for understanding. And if that's the case, we can both arrive there together in a non-hostile way. And it's like this discovery of truth, which is really, really important. So you guys don't have to use outside sources, don't worry. I just want you, although you can absolutely use notes from the class PowerPoint presentation from earlier this week if you choose to go that route, you guys can absolutely use all of that stuff. And if you need, I know that some of your stuff might be at school or whatever, but if you need information on that type of stuff, shoot me an email. So again, going back and forth, you're eventually directing them to one of three places. Either they want to talk about it again, they want to continue the conversation, and they want to meet up again and talk about it, or they're going to go on their own and go research it, or you've changed their mind. You get to pick. This is obviously a fictional conversation, but you get to pick their response. Wherever they end up, that's where you're going to put in one of those three things. Either they want to continue the conversation, or they are going to go research more on the topic on their own because they're starting to see that they might not have the most foundational view, or the view that's most based in evidence. And then the third option is you could have them in that conversation change their mind. It's up to you. So obviously this goes back and forth. This is in the attachment in the assignment, so you can read this and kind of get a feel for the flow of the conversation. I would suggest that you read the whole thing. I know it's longer, but it's a conversation that's important. Also on here, by the way, that's in here. If you go into it, there's two downloads, the prompt and the example paper. That was the example paper. The prompt is here. So you're imagining a situation in your own ministry or sphere of influence where you could apply the question method, which is the Columbo tactic. And you're writing a dialogue between you and another person on this topic of any difficult question you have been asked or anticipate being asked or that you have had in the past. Really, any claim that goes against your worldview. As you construct your dialogue, keep the following two questions in mind. What questions or series of questions can you ask to uncover truth? And what would be the key question that you ask B? The key questions are the ones that are going to get them to self-examine. They're going to get them to understand maybe the error of their logic if it's self-defeating, or it's going to get them to want to back up what they're saying with evidence, and then you can ask about that evidence, right? You can ask them how did they come to that conclusion? Do they have evidence for that? Could you see the evidence for that? So again, it's really, really important to remember to ask questions in every single time, because then the conversation goes stale, because then you're like, oh, no, I don't know what to say. So you're going to have to get into a skeptical mindset to write this, because you also have to write the other person's skepticism, if you will. And so you can have some fun with that, be creative with it. But they're just, again, the goal is for them to move eventually throughout the conversation, but at first they can be pretty defensive and however you want to make it. Your dialogue should be 2 full pages in length. The reason I don't say double-spaced or anything is if you go back over here, I do want it to be single-spaced. However, you're hitting enter every time a new person starts. So I don't really want you to look at it like a formal paper. So make the prompt single-space like this, and then just go back and forth, and you're hitting enter every time. So obviously it's not hurting you that much. So you're going to have your name, and then you can make up a character or a person that you're talking to. It does need to be 12-point font, Times New Roman. Again, see the text example for help. That's the paper I just showed you. Again, guys, if you have any questions on this especially, please jump into the afternoon tutorial and we can talk about it. Also, it's Friday afternoon. I had to be there anyway, so you should just come talk and hang out. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks, y'all.